We know that Satan's world of legal is all based on idolatry. We had done in a previous video, we looked at the word idolater out of Webster's dictionary. Now, not every dictionary is going to have this, so I don't want to get into a debate on it, but the majority of the dictionaries that actually have some content to them, at least size to them, not a convenience store dictionary size, a little pocket, is not going to have these things. But the word idol, in a sense, is a false notion or idea right off the top. That's what it's defined as. So when you're looking at something that's an idol or a carving of something and people are worshiping it, of course, we know that would have to be a false notion, because how could there be any life in something like that? That's certainly a symbol of the dead. But the term idolater, the etymology of the word is hired servant wages. And then interesting, of course, as we said in a previous video, it said see larceny, which is theft. Now, why would that be there? Well, interestingly, when we go back to the Garden of Eden, when Adam and Eve had taken from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and God had commanded them not to touch that tree, they were not to touch it at all. They could eat from any other tree, but not that one. Well, what did they commit when they actually took from that tree after the command was not to touch that tree? Well, that would be theft. It was off limits, it wasn't theirs, and it was not to be touched. So if we touch something that doesn't belong to us, that's theft. Now, interestingly, the whole system of man's legal system is based on, of course, this hired servant wages, which would make you an idolater. And we know how many scriptures in the Bible warned against idolatry. And then you got the word ID, which is part of this false notion ideology. Certainly makes sense with this current COVID-19, which to me would seem pretty symbolic. If I wanted to throw meanings into each letter, I could put it as certificate of vaccination 19, but that would bother a lot of people. But I mean, I can see things in this manner because we know that we're living in a legal idolatrous state of governments. So the statement of birth record is literally an accusation of theft. That you're actually making a claim to something that's not yours, but of course the child could never have done that, which would make that an error. But the parents are acting in the sin. And so, of course, they would pass on sin to their children and therefore pass on this hereditary sin. So we hope that we can get an understanding of this subject matter, that the whole world is definitely under the power of deception and evil, and definitely under the ideology of legal error, and certainly nothing to do with God's law.